What's up, guys? Dave with Miracle Canine Training. Wanted to talk real quick about something I've been noticing going around a lot. I would say in the last, honestly, 6 months to a year lately, of some trends going around in dog training. There's a lot of talk, between people that are, using e-collars only, right? And people that are using e-collars with food, and people that are totally against e-collars. And because there's such a stigma around the tool in itself of e-collars, a lot of people are starting to go to this polar extreme with discussing the e-collar, talking about how, we only use this tool in a communicative fashion. We're using this tool as low as possible, and it never should be an aversive to the dog, and this and that. And the problem with a lot of these discussions is it's putting this false sense, I feel like, in people's minds of how the e-collar gets used, right? In the end of the day, an e-collar is used because the dog perceives whatever level you're working at in whatever fashion you're working it at with as aversive to some degree, right? The dog doesn't like it. So they are either learning, if you're using continuous pressure on the e-collar, to escape a stimulation that they perceive as annoying or aversive or anything like that. Or if you're using it as positive punishment, they are learning to avoid a correction by either doing something or not doing something. And I've seen time after time again these posts talking about, just how low the level is. Like, my dog's working only at like a level 8 out of 100, or, dogs that come into my training program never see a level higher than 30, and this and that. And though it sounds good to humans and it sounds good to our clients, the difference is that you don't determine what the dog perceives as motivating or perceives as aversive when you're using these tools, right? No matter what, I can't make a dog always respond to a level 30, right? I can't make a dog always care about a level 30 because the level changes based on the distractions going on in the environment, right? So if I'm outside around all these distractions at the park, squirrels, dogs, things like that, that level needs to be more motivating to the dog than the reinforcement of them chasing that thing or going after that thing. And by saying that I never go over a 30, you're putting this sense in people's heads of, if you use a level 30 in that type of situation and it does not work, that the e-collar doesn't work with your dog, or that the training doesn't work with their dog, or that they're doing something wrong. And I think it's really inhibiting people's success, right? Like I said, the dog is perceiving what is aversive. And the reason why a lot of these people are preaching things this way is because, again, nobody wants to hurt their dog. Nobody wants to do anything that's causing tons and tons of physical discomfort to their dog. And if I could get away with working a dog at a level 8 all the time, then obviously we would do that. The goal is always to use as little pressure as possible, but as much pressure as needed, right? But the reality of the situation is I have seen dogs that will blow off a level 100 like it's nothing. I've seen dogs that will, yelp like they're dying at a level 10, which is lower than a human can even feel, right? So instead of getting caught on the number, which is what I see a lot of these trainers preaching, go off of the response of your dog, right? How is your dog responding to the e-collar in different situations? And as a trainer or as an owner, as a handler, a walker, or whatever, your job should always be being able to gauge your dog and gauge their response to whatever tool that you're using to find that degree of motivation that is perfect for them, whether that's a level 8 or whether that's a level 90 in particular situations, right? I don't want you guys to get this in your head that I'm preaching, using super high levels and, frying dogs and stuff like that, because that's obviously not the case. But on the contrary, we can't make it seem like dogs are always going to be motivated by those lower levels in these cases. In the training stages, we want to use low levels. We want to have the dog understand it. But at some point, like I said, you're going to find environmental distractions that are way more motivating to the dog than those lower levels. And that's where we need to move into that secondary stage of the training, which is proofing those behaviors and applying consequences the dog perceives as motivating for not doing those around certain types of distractions. So just kind of wrapping all of this up here, when you're using e-collars, use your best judgment on what's appropriate for the dog. And these e-collars are created with levels 0 to 100 for a reason, because no matter what, you're gonna have to constantly adjust up and down. And if you get caught on a number, well, that number is not gonna work with every dog. No differently than humans have different pain tolerances and different tolerances to things that are annoying or scary or whatever it may be. Dogs are exactly the same, right? So I have never seen an e-collar not be a beneficial tool for any dog. We use them with 100% of the dogs that come to our facility, but you have to keep in mind that it's the way that we use it with each individual dog. It changes every single time. And again, with some dogs, I can condition that in at a very low level. With others, I need something a little bit more motivating. So keep that in mind. Again, don't fall for a lot of these gimmicks that you'll see out there of the e-collar can only be used in this communicative fashion, because you're gonna hold back your dog's training. You have to move on to proofing stages at some point once things are taught and understood. I'm super open about giving advice and giving support and stuff like that to people that are starting off with e-collars, especially if they aren't local. So if you're ever having issues and thinking that things aren't working with your dog, you're having issues with contact, you're having issues with the dog understanding the e-collar or whatnot, obviously send me messages, send me direct messages on Instagram. You guys can email me, you can do whatever you'd like, and I always get back to that kind of stuff because it is a very complicated tool and there's so many opinions out there. But keep in mind, go off of how the dog is responding to it. Don't fall for the gimmick that you're always going to be able to work low all the time, because in the reality is as you get further along in your training, your level will probably go up because the dog will be more likely to blow you off as opposed to just being confused. And then 3, you don't determine what the dog perceives as aversive, right? The dog determines that. So go off of what you're seeing. Hope this helps. If you guys have any questions, message me and stay tuned for the next video.